Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Writers Chat. We're so glad you're here with us, whether you are here with us or you're watching the replay. My name is Johnny Alexander. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jan Martin, Brandy Bro, and Melissa Stroh. And we're very excited because Melissa is going to do a presentation on MailerLite. We did a little bit of this a few weeks ago when Jean Wise, who's not with us today, one of our co-hosts, but she's doing some other things. And she talked about lead magnets, and I talked a little bit about, doing a MailerLite newsletter, and Melissa talked about forms and things, but we really just ran out of time. So we were really excited to have Melissa come back and just kind of go through all this again and do it in a more leisurely way. So if you have questions, be sure and put them in the chat, and we'll try to get to all of those. We know that this is, it can be really complicated, and it can be a little scary and intimidating. And we hope that this presentation, and it will be recorded, that you'll be able to go back and watch it, that will help you do what you need to do as far as doing newsletters. And I guess I'll also say that, we are focusing on MailerLite because that's what Melissa uses, but programs pretty much work very similar. So there will be some differences, but if you learn this and you use this as a guide, if you are using another program, it may even help you with that if you're having some issues. So we're really glad to have Melissa with us. Melissa is just wonderful. She does a lot of the behind the scenes things here at Writers Chat. We don't know what we do without her, and just really glad to have her giving our presentation today. So Melissa, I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, so today we're going to jump into, or maybe dive into is a better word, the onboarding sequence, or creating an automation on MailerLite. And I know there's a lot of confusion around this subject because there really are so many different terms for what this is that we're creating. I know in some of the previous episodes we talked about, Bethany mentioned it, called it a nurturing sequence, which I kind of like that title, the nurture sequence, because that's what you're doing with this onboarding funnel is nurturing your future readers and helping them to get to know you, and then, ministering to them with your writing. So it's called either an onboarding sequence, a nurture sequence, or a drip campaign is another popular term for this. It's your intro funnel that's gonna show people who you are and what your writing is and how it's going to serve them. So I guess I can just jump right into sharing my screen here, and we'll, let's see where, okay, just a second. I have to pop up the right screen on the background here so that you are viewing my MailerLite. I had some other screens up here. Okay, can everybody see MailerLite?
Yes.
All right. It might be a little small. I apologize. I still don't know how to zoom in on my screen. The techie, non-techie leading the non-techie here. Is that kind of similar to the blind leading the blind? Anyway, here is MailerLite. Now, when you come into MailerLite, you're going to be coming in right to the dashboard. So you aren't going to see this screen that we're on right now, but it's very similar to all of it. I took you right to our first screen that I want to just discuss really briefly. I'm basically showing you something that you're probably not going to need until maybe later on when you decide to move on, but it bears discussing. First, we're going to talk about what the funnel is, and then we'll go into some of the forms that you're going to need before creating your funnel, or your automation, as it's called in MailerLite. The funnel onboarding sequence or drip campaign is basically just a series of emails meant to help your new subscribers get to know you and your writing. In this case, you're going to have to create an onboarding sequence of emails to do that. And while I'm not going to go extremely into detail on all of those emails, I have put a resource into the live chat for a live podcast done by Thomas Umstattd Jr. on Author Media, and he covers this in great detail. It's an awesome resource, and you can go to the link and listen to the podcast episode on the onboarding sequence or drip campaign, and he will cover all of those emails in detail. And it also includes a free download that you can get that will give you samples of both nonfiction and fiction emails. So it'll give you kind of an idea that you can springboard off of when you're creating your own drip campaign or onboarding sequence. But I'm going to show you mine when we get into that automation part of all this. And you'll see that I'm modeled after his model, which includes about 6 emails if you count email 0, which is going to be the first email that will deliver your lead magnet. But we'll get into the details of that in a bit. So here's just a quick overview of what we're going to do. I'm going to show you where you're going to go to create your landing page, embedded forms, or pop-up. Where we're at right now is the landing page option. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to show you how to begin the funnel or the automation. And then we're going to go into each email and some of the fun key features that you want to bear in mind or include in those emails. And we'll kind of critique a little bit about mine too, to show you some of the flaws that are existing and things that I would like to change to improve it and make it a little better. And hopefully that'll give you a little inspiration for yours as well. Okay, so just to add to a little bit of confusion, MailerLite does use different terms for different forms, and they have different purposes. And so a lot of people are familiar with the term landing page. Well, a landing page is a little different on MailerLite than it is on other newsletter services. A landing page, you actually have to go to their sites menu to find. And what a landing page is in MailerLite is actually a mini website. This is something I didn't discover until I was exploring and playing around with it on my own and watching some of their tutorials. And I will include the tutorials for each of these forms that I'm going to show you in the chat so that you can go and watch them step by step. They're all time stamped, so you can pause them and actually work through your own while watching these tutorials. They're really helpful. And so if I miss a lot of steps, I'm going to give you each of the tutorials for all of these so that you can just click on those, go to those links and watch them on your own time. So don't panic, don't get furious into your notes. You're not going to miss anything too important. You can go back and watch these things later. And I'm just going to give you a quick overview of this because we're not going to discuss this in great detail. But a landing page is a mini website. Basically, it's I'm not entirely certain if you can make more than one page on a landing page. I think it can be just like a continuous scrolling page. And then they also, as you may have noticed, have a feature for creating a website on their own services as well. I know nothing about MailerLite's websites, but I also did include a tutorial on creating a website through MailerLite. So you can go check out that resource if you're curious. Again, it's not anything you need to worry about right now. But I did want to point out that like all of the forms on MailerLite, they're all going to have a similar setup. When you go in, you're not going to see this option. This is something I've already created. There's going to be a little box that lets you know you have nothing in this page, but you can go and you can create a form, or in this case, creating the landing page. Once you've created something, you can always go back to it and edit it, and it will take you to the drag and drop editor that some of you probably remember from our previous episodes. And it's very simple to use. But so the landing page can be used to springboard your onboarding sequence as well. You can connect your onboarding sequence to a landing page or even onto the website. But what I think that's more useful for us is forms. So the forms allows you to create an embedded form or a pop-up on your actual website. Any of these, even the landing page, can be connected to your website. But I think for our purposes as writers and authors, that the forms and the pop-up are probably the most practical to be used. The biggest difference between the landing page and the embedded forms is that the landing page, like I said, functions as a mini website, and you can actually attach your own domain to it. You can buy an extra domain, and that can become handy for an author, say like if maybe you're launching your book and you would like to buy a domain that has your book's title in it or something, and create a page just for your book with a domain, so that when you share it on socials or other forums, then when it pops up in the URL, it has that domain rather than like this long MailerLite address. So that could be handy for you if you prefer that. But if that's not anything important to you, then forums are easier and there's a less involved in them. Is there any questions so far before I jump into the forms themselves?
Not so far.
Okay.
You're doing fantastic, and we're just absorbing.
Okay. All right. So do you want me to go over pop-ups or embedded forms first? We're going to fix in on the embedded forms, but I do want to cover both. So just so you kind of see what they're like. Is there any preferences in the group?
I don't know. And I honestly am not sure what the difference is between them. I think I know, but I'm not sure I know.
Okay, well, I will explain the difference between both. And like I said, I'm going to include tutorials to give you information on how to create both too, and how to connect them to your website. And MailerLite makes it really easy, because especially if you have a WordPress site, they have a plugin that hooks to your site, and then they give you the tutorials how to link your plugins and your embedded forms. And it's not as complicated as it may seem. It's actually a very easy process. Well, we'll just jump to pop-ups real quick. So a pop-up is a form, like I'm sure most of you are familiar with pop-ups when you visit other people's websites, that it'll come up after a certain period of time once you go onto the website, and then it pops up into the screen in a separate window somewhere. Sometimes they have the really invasive ones that take up the whole screen, you know, the kind that you're just scrambling to try to find the X or the closeout, those kind. Fortunately, MailerLite doesn't do those. They have very friendly pop-ups and options to make them even friendlier, so they aren't irritating your future newsletter followers. But the pop-up is just a quick pop-up that can be set up via MailerLite. When you go to create a pop-up form, you'll just go to that big orange button in the top, and it's going to take you to a page where you get to name your pop-up. The name is just for your reference. It's not something that's actually going to show up on your site. So it just helps you to keep things organized from the back end. Once it's created, you can always go back and change it too. And so I'm just going to give you a little quick glimpse into what my pop-up looks like and how everything looks like from the back end. But it's just a very quick form that gets the attention of your prospective followers on your website. And through MailerLite, you can decide where it's even going to show up on your screen. So you can see here, mine's a very simple form. When you're in the create mode, you'll have different templates that will show up on the side too. So you can play around with different templates, and everything in MailerLite is a drag and drop feature or an editable in fine tune. So even that image there, you can change the image. You can change the backgrounds. You can have something going on in your different forms. With the pop-up, it just focuses on this because it's presuming the background is going to be your website. So there is no background changing with this, but you can alter the size of the pop-up and the images on it. If you look at the site here, you can see all the ways that you can change it, from the fonts to the images to the color schemes. And it has a color wheel that you can even put your special colors in if you have ones that match your platform, your specific I'm losing the word that I'm going for here but you know what I mean. So it's very easy, very intuitive. And in the pop-up, it allows you to create both the initial form and then the success message that you get afterwards. So you'll go and you'll create the pop-up and then the success message. You can even put your socials in there and link those. And I can demonstrate that a little bit later on when we go into doing that in your newsletters as well. It's really very simple. And then after you do that, you'll go up to the side and you can preview everything you create, from campaigns to forms to your automations. You can look at the finished product and see how it is. And you can even save it in PDF so that you have hard copies of everything you've done. I really like that feature in MailerLite. And then you'll just follow the easy steps out to finalize it. I obviously can't show you that with the pre-existing one here, but again, the tutorials will cover all of that and make it very simple. And then once it's created, it's there for you to use. And MailerLite keeps track of that. So when you go into your automation, it will make all of your forms available for you to attach your automations to. And then once everything's created and you're using it, you'll also have access to analytics and everything else. Oh, another thing I should cover, both with the pop-up and with your forms, you have what's called double opt-in. And this is something I really recommend that you use. It's for your safety as well as for your followers, so that and they know that they have actually chosen to join your newsletter. So MailerLite makes it very easy. It allows you to create the double opt-ins for all of your forms too, which is basically that confirmation hello message that pops up and says, is this the email that you want to sign up to this newsletter? And so you put in their little spiel, and they have their special buttons that that put their newsletter in for them, so they can see they signed up with whatever email they gave you, and they have to confirm it. And then after they've confirmed it, you create the thank you. And that's also very simple. You can customize it and add little symbols and fun things. And I recommend with your double opt-in thank you that you also let them know that gift that you promised them, your lead magnet, is on the way, and that they'll be getting it in the email soon. Okay, so that in a nutshell is pop-ups. Any questions on pop-ups before I jump to forms?
I'm not a question. I'm just going to make a comment that I made in the chat, but I want to say it for the recording. I just think you're so wise and smart to use that same iconic image.
Definitely.
Yeah. Can you just talk about that a moment, why you chose to do that and what it does for you?
Yes, I think that it just is kind of like that subtle insurance to your followers that they are following the same person, and that same person is the one who's sending them the emails. It gives a little sense of legitimacy to your forms, to your newsletters, and I really advise that people use some of the same images, or even if it's just their own headshot. If you have a logo or something, I advise that they use it in their forms and their newsletters, their website, so that people know, and they can develop that trust with you right away, that, yeah, this is from the person who I signed up for. I'm not being spammed by some weirdo impersonator. Everything I try to be consistent with my images, with my logos, with the way I greet people and the way I close out my emails. I try to make it all very consistent so that they know they're getting a legitimate email or a form from me, and it helps build confidence with your followers. So that's what I do. I try to use a consistent image all across the board so that they know that.
I really like that. And I think too, then anytime because yours is it's not just an image, it's iconic. I mean, it's very memorable. And so when I see it, I'm going to think, oh, Melissa, or even when I see something similar, oh, Melissa, so it really cements you, I think, in a reader's mind or an individual's mind when they even just see that symbol. I love it. What is it exactly? Is it a kind
of? It's a Celtic cross. Yeah. Now there is some debate among historians as to how old the Celtic cross design is and whether it was really being incorporated at the time of my novels. For those who don't know, I guess I didn't introduce myself in that regard. I write historical fiction, Christian historical fiction, and I'm doing a series set in Viking era Ireland. And so the theme of my newsletters always focuses on that Viking Ireland and the flavor of the period of my novels. And so the Celtic cross is an essential symbol throughout my stories, and I like to use it. I love the symbolism of it, and the focus, the centering on Christ and the eternal aspect of God. And that's kind of what you get in the symbolism of the Celtic cross. And so you'll see it a lot in my newsletters and on my website, and you'll eventually get the significance of it when you start reading my novels, which will be coming out this year, hopefully this fall. So I'm very excited about that.
All right. Okay, then I'll let you get back on track.
And you'll get to see a little bit more of that as you go look into my newsletters, because the content will be obvious. I try to, in my my efforts, and that's something I should emphasize too. When you guys are creating your own newsletters, you want to introduce them to who you are, what your platform is, and what your genre is right off the bat. You want to give them a flavor for your writing and everything you do. So your newsletters, your pop-up forms, all of that should be flavored with your writing, with your style, with your voice, all of those things. This is the pop-up form that I was talking about. This gives you a back-end view of it, of course, from the drag and drop editor, but this is what you would see when you pop up on my site. And I will go to my website and show you how it looks, how it connects to my site as well. So it kind of gives you that outward visual. Some of you have already seen it, because I know that there are several people in our group who are also members of the clan. So thank you. I'm very, very happy that you are part of the clan and have joined us in our own venture. But again, here you'll see that I have a Celtic cross in the background, staying true to that theme. And everybody knows this symbol because they've seen it on my website. It's the primary image there. And so when they click on the link to go to my newsletter and sign up, they automatically know, hey, this is legit. And so I've connected that. Again, it's a very simple form. Asking for their email and their name. A lot of people, including Thomas Umstattd Jr., will encourage you to keep it very simple and don't include a lot of different fields, even though MailerLite will allow you to add many fields. You can get very intricate, but that can be a turnoff to people. So I really encourage that you keep it very simple. Email, name. I include the opt-ins just as an added security for myself and to make other people feel secure when they're signing in. But I use a caption instead of all those games and stuff, because I know those can be a bit of a turn off to people as well. The MailerLite allows you to do all of them. It's very customizable. So just like with the pop-up form, when you're creating an embedded form, you'll have both your form itself, and then you'll also get to create the success message, which can be very simple, just a thank you, confirming that what they've done. Again, the double opt-ins that I showed you before will send them the messages, so you don't have to get really elaborate with the success message. It's just kind of that extra little special touch that lets them know, yep, you signed up, you're successful, there's stuff coming. So the embedded form is actually like a page on your website that's not necessarily connected to your website. What you'll get is a link that you can connect onto your website, but it'll pop up like a separate page when people click on the link. And so it doesn't actually pop up like a pop-up does. It's something they actually have to go to. I don't think there was anything in particular with the creation of the form that's any different than a pop-up, just like with the campaigns, your newsletters, all of it is the drag and drop editor. And when you go into the actual creation, you're going to have a sidebar with all of your fun little templates that you can choose from. And then you have the customizer on this side. And it's the same in every form, every newsletter. MailerLite's very consistent that way, and they keep it very simple. Again, you can change backgrounds, you can change foregrounds, you can change colors and fonts. You can even go in and customize the fonts. I can't really see it very well here, but you can see it in their settings. You can go into each specific part of your forms, and you can set up a customized font and sizing of your fonts that'll work across all of your forms too, so you don't have to keep changing them. I like how they make that so easy for you in MailerLite. So then when you go in and you type a form in the future, you type a newsletter, it automatically uses all of your chosen fonts. That's another fun setting. And I think I can demonstrate that better in the actual automation in the letters, the emails, rather than in the form setting. So we'll just jump right to that. I think I covered everything with embedded forms. Is there any questions about that before we move on to how they connect to automation?
I'm not seeing anything. You're doing great. Everybody loves your branding though, and there is talk in the chat about how consistent and beautiful your branding is. So
well, thank you. I appreciate that affirmation.
yeah, that's great. No, you're doing wonderful, Melissa. Thank you. This is so helpful. I'm making a to-do list. Yes, yes, a MailerLite to-do list, or as you're talking.
Yeah, MailerLite is so intuitive. And, you know, when I first joined it, I was intimidated. There was a little bit of a learning curve, but they have so many tutorials, both on YouTube and directly on their site that connects to YouTube. And like I said, I'm going to give you all those links too, so you don't even have to go hunting for them. But they make it so easy. And the more you play around with it, the more you're on it, you realize that they've made it very, very handy for you. You just kind of got to get used to their specific way of doing things. And again, their terms for all of it. Again, here in MailerLite, they use the term automation rather than funnel or onboarding sequence. But that is basically what this is. It's going to allow you to create an automation or a workflow that's going to connect to whatever forms you've created. And here you can see on my page, I already have several up. This shows my pop-up. It shows the embedded form that I showed you. And then I have a new form, obviously, that I'm working on for the future that others will get to see if you decide to join my launch team. So those will automatically appear once you've created them. And I can't emphasize that enough. Make sure you create your forms first before you go and create your automation, because your automation will not work without a form to attach it to. So, and once they're there, the MailerLite has them, and it'll allow you through very easy steps to connect the two. Okay, so when you have one, you can always go back and edit it too. That's the fun thing about MailerLite, is nothing set in stone. You can always go back and change things, improve them, make them better, or alter them completely. And so when you're creating your first automation, obviously you're going to create a new workflow. It's going to pop up a little screen asking you to name your workflow. Again, that's only for your reference. It's not anything that any of your followers can see. It just helps you to organize it, because you can have many workflows that will eventually fill up the page. So just, you know, however many you want to create, you create it and name it the way that you want to organize it. And then it will be showing up down here, as you can see. And we're going to go into the embedded form workflow, but it's the same for both of these, because I've connected the same workflow to both of the pop-up and the embedded form, and they make that very easy. So I'm going to take you into the background of automation now. Now, when you first go to create an automation, you're not going to see this long map like what I have, because mine's already done. What you're going to see first is a little box that asks you to decide on what you're going to do first. Now we're going to temporarily turn off my form so that I can show you those in detail, and you'll see exactly what it is. When you click on that first box, it's going to ask you what you want to do, how you want to start this workflow. And you're going to have the option to name your workflow there. Again, it will show what you chose beforehand, but if you change your mind and you want to name it something else, you can always go back in and rename it here. So whatever name you chose is going to show there. Then you're going to choose the trigger for your workflow. How's it going to start? In my case, I chose when a subscriber completes the form. As you can see by the list, there are many ways that a workflow can start. It can start when a subscriber joins one of your groups, when they complete a form that you've created. Again, what we have here, when they click a link, if you update any fields in your existing subscribers, or, you know, you could have special forms for going out to, if you get people's information like their birthday or their anniversary, there's the potential to even send them a little newsletter on that special date telling them happy birthday or happy anniversary. You know, there are so many things that you can do on MailerLite that you probably don't need as an author, but they're fun add-ins. One of the things that makes MailerLite what it is it doesn't just focus on authors, but they also work with other businesses as well. So they have a lot of extra bells and whistles that may be something you don't really need, but you might find fun in the future to explore with. For now, we're just going to focus on what we have when a subscriber completes a form. In this case, it's the embedded form. So on the website, they'll have clicked the link saying, I want to join your newsletter. And it's going to take them to the embedded form that I showed you before. They're going to fill out their name, their email, say, yes, I want that newsletter. And this is the flow that's going to come to them after they've confirmed that they want to subscribe. So I've chosen the form that I want. I've chosen the trigger that's going to start the form. Then the next step is to create the email. Because right off the bat, you want them to get that lead magnet you promised them. In the newsletter, you said, join my newsletter and you're going to get this free PDF on how to do XYZ. Or in my case, it might be a little freebie PDF on, the first scenes of a novel if you're writing fiction, or maybe you have a free ebook you want to offer them. Whatever your lead magnet is, it's going to be coming to them right off the bat. You don't want to add any delays. You want to send them that email right away. And so this is what's called email 0 in the podcast I point you to, that just delivers the lead magnet. You want to keep it short and sweet. So you'll choose to create an email from a drop down. I guess I should show you what that looks like. We'll just pop down. When you see that first box and you're going to the next choice, so you're going to see a little circle with a plus sign, and it's going to pop this box up asking you what the next step is in the workflow that you want to create. So you'll choose either an email, a delay, a condition, or an action. In our case, we chose an email. So when you click on the email, then it's going to pop up this sidebar where you get to customize all of the back end of it. You're gonna name the email. Again, they're not gonna see the name of the email. That's just what you've chosen to name it to keep it organized. What they will see is your subject line. So then you get to fill in what you want the subject of your email to say. You can even put emojis in. As you can see, I did that just for fun. Make it a little personalized. You get to choose who it's from. You're going to choose what email you're sending from, which is going to be the email that you've connected your newsletters to. I will throw in a little caveat there. MailerLite will throw a fit if it is a Gmail address like what I have instead of an address that's attached to your website, but they will still allow it to work. And the main reason there is with newsletters, both Yahoo and Gmail and those kind of providers tend to be a little sensitive about newsletter services and can be quick to send things to spam because they mistake newsletters for that often. So there's a little bit of background play to make sure that's legitimate. And I always advise people that if they are going to use like a Gmail address and they get that confirmed with MailerLite, make sure that you let your subscribers know in your newsletters that they should check their spam boxes for you so that they know that your newsletter is okay and that that they can continue receiving it in their inboxes, because sometimes Gmail or Yahoo or those providers will automatically send a newsletter to the spam folder because of that. So that's a good language to include in one of your later emails. Just to ask your followers to make sure to put your email in their safe to receive emails and to check the spam folder for it. Okay, we're going to go right into the first email and in the drag and drop editor. When you're actually creating it for the first time, it's going to have a button that says create the email. Here, since it already exists, it has the edit the email option. So you'll click it and it's going to take you into the editor. When you're there, it's just going to be, again, a blank area. And you're going to have your sidebar with all of your templates that you can choose from, your headers, your images, your text boxes. All of them are drag and drops. They can go anywhere on the screen. And then you can customize them. Oops, I goofed that up, didn't I? We don't want that. And it's that easy to get rid of something too. So if you put something in, you say, oh, I don't like how that looks, just click the trash can up in the corner and it's gone. Everything is so customizable in MailerLite. So you will want to decide your general format and feel free to play around with that. Your first intro email is giving them a taste of who you are and what your genre is. So again, I really emphasize those consistent brand images and your writing, your voice. Make sure that that's included, that you use good copy in your content. As you might be able to tell, mine's a little long for an intro. In your first email 0 that's going to deliver the lead magnet, you want it to be pretty short and sweet. You're just reminding them what they signed up for, saying, here's your freebie, and then you give it to them. here's going to be the first flaw, and we'll get to that in a minute, that should be something very obvious. It should be like a clicking button that says, get your freebie here, or get your free, novel or ebook, whatever it is. Make it very obvious to them right off the bat that this is where they go to get it. Make it simple to follow. And then the only other purpose of email 0 is to let them know what's coming. So you deliver them that lead magnet, and then you let them know, hey, there's going to be a series of emails to follow to help you to get to know me, or however you want to word it. In mine, I just let them know that in the days to come, they'll receive a few emails from me to help us to get to know one another, and to let them know the benefits that they have in being part of the clan. And that's, again, a bit of my platform, since I focus on Ireland and clans. So I let my newsletter followers know that they're part of our official clan. And so they get to know a little bit about what's coming. And that's all this email should do. It should just let them know, hey, here's your freebie. It delivers the freebie and lets them know that there's going to be a funnel or a series of newsletters coming. Is there anything in particular about this one before I move on to the next email?
You make it sound so easy. You're doing great.
I know, and I might, I guess I should draw attention to another fun little flair that I do. You want to make it like a letter, like an actual email. Make it personable to people. So your heading should include some sort of greeting, and I would make that a consistent greeting. Some people like to personalize it by putting the name of the person that they're sending it to, and MailerLite makes that easy too. It has little buttons on the option in the sidebars where you can include their little code that will put the name of the person that you're sending it to. You don't have to know code to do this. They actually have it all in their sidebars and their settings. So it's very easy to set up. I do a generalized greeting, so I don't have it in the newsletters that it specifically refers to the recipient, but I set it up so that it will specifically refer to them in like the headings in the greetings of the email themselves. But I also like to add a little special touch at the end and closing it like a letter. And so I close mine with that little Griast in Christ, so that they get a bit of flair for my style too, give them a little bit of Irish. And I also let them know that this is something that I do with my followers too, that I teach about the history as well and the research, and I give them little tidbits so that they always know I kind of do a little bit of interpretations along the way of the things that they get from me, so they get a little taste of what's to come, even in my closing. So I like to add little touches like that there, and maybe that's something that you'd like to do with your newsletters as well. But make it consistent, make it personable, make it like a letter to them, so that you're helping build that trust with your followers. Okay, so once you've created this email, then you're gonna choose to be done editing it. And before you do that, you can also preview and test it. Maybe I should demonstrate that real quick, what preview mode looks like. At any point, you can check it out, and it's going to show you what your letters, your forms look like in their final view. And sometimes getting into that mode helps you to pick up on flaws you might not have seen while you were in the actual editor. It has both the desktop and the mobile versions, so you can see how your forms and your letters convert, which I think is very handy. So then if something isn't formatted right for mobile, then you can go in and you can change it. But most of it formats naturally. They have it as an automatic setup, so usually you don't have to worry about that. Maybe just if you have made the print too small, then you'll notice it when you go into mobile form that, oh, that might be hard to read for some people. And so then you'll know to blow up your print. But it's really handy to go into preview mode. Another fun aspect about preview mode that I think is essential is they have this fun little option in the corner to save as a PDF. So you can create hard copies of everything that you create on MailerLite and save it on your computer, and you have that backup should something happen. Every newsletter I create a PDF form of it that's saved onto my computer, so that I have that, and it's a personal reference as well as the backup. So I like that aspect of MailerLite. And once you're done viewing it, you can just close out the X and go back into the editor. You can decide when you're done, and then you would choose done editing. It will take you back to the automation page. For speed, we're just gonna go back because we didn't make any changes in this specific newsletter. But again, you can always go back, you can always edit and change things, play around with it. I really encourage everyone to explore the editors and play around with your format and just have fun with it. There's a lot to do, and you'll learn best by just exploring and seeing what everything does. It's all very easily reversible. If you do something that you didn't like, you can always change it. So after that first email 0, oh, sorry, it just occurred to me that I never showed you how to attach your lead magnet, did I?
And Melissa, to let you know, this is great information. I wanted to let you know it's 11:45, so you have an idea of what time it is.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
I've got one really quick thing to say too. Another option was to send a test email, and that's an excellent idea. You can send a test email to yourself, because it's, to me, when I see that email, and I do this when I do the newsletters too, I do it before I send it out to the subscribers. It's easier for me to catch typos. I mean, I may think I caught them all, but invariably I find at least one. And also to check your links. Any links that you have, you want to make sure you click on them and make sure they're sending your subscribers to the place you want them to subscribe. Okay, back to you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. I'll just do it with the second email so that, and I can tell you how it would work for connecting a lead magnet as well. So when you go to create your next email in your sequence, you're going to want to make sure that you add a delay in. You saw before when I went down and I clicked on that plus button and it pops up this box. Before you create another email, make sure you create a delay, because you don't want all these emails coming all at once. You want them to have several gaps in between, so your readers have a chance to check out each email and, digest it before the next one comes to them. So I recommend for email 2 that you set a delay of at least 1 day. As you can see in the top corner here, you can add in your number of delays. You can choose what kind of delay. It doesn't even have to be a day. You have minutes, hours, months, or you can even set it up to a specific time of day. So it's very, very detailed. After you've created the delay, then you'll go and you'll create the next email, which will be your first introductory email. In that, you're going to be showing them who you are, what they can expect to have from your newsletter. This would be where I would suggest introducing them to your website if you have one. Here we'll demonstrate when you go into an editor. Here's what a text box editor looks like, and you have all of the options. If you're linking a lead magnet, so this is the area I forgot to mention. So if you're going to link a lead magnet, you have this little button called a link, and you can put it in text. You can put it in a button. Anything that you put in MailerLite can be linked to, and they will have a link option. So if I wanted, like here, I've got a link right here. If I didn't have one, I could highlight the text and then I could choose link, and it's going to pop up a box like this. Whatever your lead magnet is, if it's a Google Docs, you're going to copy the link from your Google Docs and you're going to paste it into the URL box. You're going to title what that link is, whether it's on a button, whether it's the wording, whatever it is that you chose, you're going to title it. You're going to choose to open it in a new tab. That's very important, because you don't want to take them away from your newsletter and not be able to get back to it, but you do want them to go to the source as well. So choose to open in a new tab, and then you'll save it, and it's attached. And like Johnny mentioned, you can test your links. You can send a test email to yourself, and you can test your automation as well, and make sure everything works before you finally send it out to everyone. Okay, another feature that I wanted to point out is down in the bottom, social links. Another thing that's going to come up later on, you're going to have in one of your later emails, you'll eventually be asking your followers to connect to you. And so MailerLite allows you to put social links into your newsletters, and you can any of your socials that you actually use, that you are consistently on and interacting with people, you can include in there. I would advise you not to go too crazy with it. If you'll notice in the dropdown, MailerLite has an exhaustive list of socials and other places that you can go. Yes, social media, or yes, Serious Writer. They even have Discord. So there are endless possibilities to add in there. And then when you create it and you connect it to your socials by putting the links in, then the little symbol is going to pop up for whichever one. And you can put that anywhere in your newsletters. And you can even drag and drop the order of them. So say like, I don't want Facebook first, I want Instagram. I can grab it, drag it to the top, and boom, Instagram symbol is first. So you can play around with them. If I decide, oh no, I want Facebook back in the front, well, there you go. You can add further social links by simply clicking the box and then filling in the information and copying and pasting from your actual social site. So it's very, very easy to add social links, and that can be anywhere in your newsletter. It doesn't have to be at the very bottom. If you want to connect it, you can put it wherever you want. So again, this is the second email. This will be introducing them to you and to your writing. I would advise connecting them with links to your website if you have one, to your writing if you have pre-existing stuff. That will come in later emails. In the third email that comes after that, or what would be email 2 to them, you will be introducing them to your writing itself. And that's where you can share your books if you have books, or if you have a blog that you want them to follow, you can connect that in your third email. Another thing I want to draw your attention to real quick before we're getting to the closing of the hour is, as you progress in this funnel, I would suggest adding a little bit more of a delay between the emails. In the next one, I created a 2-day delay, so that, maybe they have a flooded inbox and they just aren't getting the chance to read through everything and digest it. And so they've already received 2 emails from you, and you want to give them a little bit of a chance to look over those before you send the next one in the funnel. So I increased the delay by 2 days. And then in the other ones, I gave a 3-day delay so that they have a long time in between them, because the emails get progressively a little bit bigger and they include a little bit more, as you'll see if you go and you watch the podcasts on these specific contents of each of these emails. But I never go beyond a 3-day gap. I think that's plenty of time in between emails to let them have a chance to read them and digest them. So in each one, you're going to ask them different things. And after you've introduced them to your writing, then the next one would be the connection, again, where you're asking them to follow you on your social medias. And then the very last email in your funnel, and it doesn't have to be this many. Maybe you only want 3 emails in your funnel. Maybe you don't have that much information to show them. There is no hard set number in the funnel. The funnel can be as many emails as you want. It can be a certain series. It's fully customizable, so don't feel like you have to have this exact amount of emails. But I chose the 5 or 6 email setup, as it were, because it worked for my brand. So the very last email is the big ask. This is the, can I ask you a favor? Can you do this? This might be, if you're published, maybe you're asking them if they want to leave a review for your book that they've read, or if they've read it, if they liked it, to leave that review. Maybe you have a book on pre-order and you want to ask them to spread the word about it. So then you'll put the pre-order link in there. Maybe you're just starting and you don't have books published and you want to know what lead magnet to use, which is what mine was. It's like, what lead magnet would you guys like to have? What freebie would entice you? And so that you could put a survey in there and ask them to fill out the survey. That's what the final email in the funnel is to ask them after you've given and given and given. And only ask after you've given, because you want to be generous with your followers and build that trust. And then by the time you've built that trust, then they're willing to give because they've seen how much you've given them, with the value you've given them in turn. So are there any specific questions, anything that you'd like me to go back and cover in a little more detail before we close this out?
I don't see any other questions. It will tell you that I have, as you've shown us different screens, and I've looked at your open rates and your click rates. They're really very respectable and very good. So, you know, I think sometimes when we don't really understand what the industry standard, I guess, is, like a set like this one, a 7.1, that is really, really good. And I saw one, I think earlier, where a newsletter or something was opened or responded to, and it was like a 3 point something percent. I'm not sure what the industry thing is, but I think if you get like even 1% of people to click, that's good. That's good. So like, your numbers are very, very wonderful, which shows a couple things. One, I think it shows that you are building an email list of people who are interested. And we've got to think about that too. It's not just about the numbers on your email list, it's the numbers on your email list who care about
Yeah.
it. And go ahead. Yeah, that's reflected in your open rate, in your clicks.
Yes, thank you. I was just going to expound on that a little bit too for everyone, that once you've started your workflow, then you can view your analytics, and they show you in every aspect of it. Like I said, every detail, each email, it will give you a rundown here and on that screen in the back. So, you know, here we'll jump back to turning back on the automation. So now my automation is active again. When you go in to edit certain parts of it, you will have to shut off the automation so that you can edit it. But each email can actually be edited while the automation is still active. So that's something to know, but not anything super important. Yeah, once you've created it, then it's going to run you through the steps to finalize it and finish it and activate it. And I guess I didn't show you that in the actual workflow, but when you have the drop down to choose what form you want, it's going to have a list of all the forms you've created. So it's as simple as clicking from the drop down list which form you want to connect your automation to. And then it automatically is connected, and it will show on this page. And then you'll come down and you'll activate it by clicking the activate button. When you first see it, it's going to be off. And then you'll click it and boom, it's active. And so then when anybody engages with that form, then it's automatically going to turn on the workflow for them once they've completed that form.
That's great.
Yeah. So, and then you can go into each one of these and see the actual stats like I showed you before. Oh no, I shouldn't click that button. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, while you're in this one too, Sally asked if you could go over the title of each of those emails again that you just in your workflow.
Yes, I can. Sometimes MailerLite's a little slow. Other times it's very fast. Which titles were for each email? Was that it?
Yes, I think this is what she means. Yes.
Okay. So again, for the titles, you can choose what you want to name them and customize them for yourself. So just for your own reference. And then since they are an email, it's choosing what you want in your subject line. And that's what your followers are going to see. So you actually have two ways that you can title it. You're titling for yourself so you can keep it organized. When you're looking at that workflow, it can be a little confusing if they all look the same. As you can see with mine, they do look the same. Yours might not look the same, but mine do. So having those titles helps you recognize them. It'll pop up and it'll show you what they are.
She said this. She said, welcome to the clan, etc. So we've got your first one's welcome to the clan. I assume the second one is what happens in the clan.
Yes. Each one, yeah, I title, you can title them whatever you want, depending on what your funnel is. The main thing for email zero is it's your lead magnet. So it's some title that lets them know about that lead magnet, whatever it is you're offering them, or just a general greeting. The next one is going to be introducing them to you. So, and what you offer. So in my case, I said, well, welcome to the clan, what happens in the clan. The next email is introducing them to your writing. So something that has to do, a title that would have to do with your writing, what it is that you focus on, and includes them into that. In my case, I was introducing them to the first book in my historical fiction series. So I titled it with the title of that book. Again, it's whatever you want to do. It's fully customizable. It's just so you can help keep track. They can't see what you've titled each email. It's basically just for your own organization. And then you decide how you want to title the subject. Then another email that they suggested in the sequence was recommended reads, like maybe you have books that have inspired you in your platform and your pursuit of whatever genre you write. In my case, I recommended certain historical fiction authors that that I love to read and who inspired me in my style. And you know, I should actually, do we have time for me to go into this email at all? Or I know we're right at the top of the hour.
Yeah, why don't you, take a couple minutes, because that's fascinating.
There was just something I wanted to go over, and maybe you guys could help me clarify, because I'm not entirely certain of, but it's a caution that I should throw out for people when you're referencing other authors' works and linking to them, which in this one, if you're recommending authors for other people to read and you're kind of lending your authenticity and letting them know what your style is, when you're linking to other people's books, I recommend linking to their actual site, where their books are located on their site. But in this instance, I recommend Francine Rivers in one of them, and she didn't have a book listed at the time. And so what I listed was an Amazon listing for her book. Now, if you're an affiliate with Amazon, I believe that you can't do this. You cannot include links to Amazon in your newsletter. I am not an affiliate, so it's not a problem here.
Well,
But
you can't add, you can do an Amazon link, but you can't do an Amazon link that's your affiliate link.
okay, good. Thank you for clarifying that. So I should use that to set an example for everybody now, that if you are an Amazon affiliate, do not use your Amazon affiliate links in your newsletter. So make sure that it's a link that goes directly to the other author's work from their site or from their direct Amazon. Don't use your own affiliate links, because that's a big no-no.
That's right. That's good. I like to see that. I mean, and you know, you're there again, this is a giving thing, you know, you're giving them information. You're also helping out other authors. So, you know, well, not that Francine Rivers needs our help, but
Yeah. But everyone knows we love her books. We love you, Francine. So, and another thing that I forgot to point out that I would encourage everyone to do with their newsletters is to engage people by closing with a question. This is something that James L. Rubart suggested when I was going with some of his teachings about the newsletters, is that you should engage them with a question that encourages them to respond to your newsletters. And that's also part of the reason why you're seeing such a good engagement in my analytics too, is that I try to encourage my followers to connect with me and to open and discuss and just have that constant dialogue going. So I would encourage you in your newsletters, close with a question that pertains to what you were talking about, and ask them to engage with you, to respond, and then be faithful to respond back. So
I think
yeah.
that too. Wow, that was great. Everybody can come back on now. If we put you in jail, please let us know. We will let you back out again. And does anyone have any comments or questions? That was great. I'm glad that we decided to do this as a full episode. Because yeah, it definitely needed it. And I certainly made some notes, and I have a to-do list for next week. So after I meet that deadline, I'm going to be working on newsletter stuff.
Here, and I will start putting those links in the chat for everybody now, since I didn't get to that before. So these are all the tutorial links I'm putting in now for each of those forums. Yeah, all that goodness.
Brandy's link is Amazon affiliate rules, things that will get you banned. So
that's a good one to have too.
No affiliate links in emails.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Anyone have any questions or comments or? And our perennial question, and you think of looking, what's next week?
Well, we have a big treat for you, and I kind of alluded to our future guest. Next week, Thomas Umstattd Jr. is going to come on the show and talk to us about building your fiction platform. Wow. So you get to hear from the man himself about how to build your fiction platform and some of those essential tidbits there. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, you don't want to miss Thomas Umstattd. I mean, this is just such a thrill to have someone like him join us. So, yes, for the connections that made that happen. All right. Well, anybody else? Are there any other questions? I don't remember seeing anything else in the chat as is going through. You did a great job, Melissa.
Yeah.
Inspiring. It's like, okay, I can do this. I have been putting this off forever, and it's like, I can do this. So thank you so much.
Oh, you bet. I'm glad. I hope that it kind of helped demystify a few things for everyone else too. And again, anything that was still a little confusing, I think that those tutorials I've linked you to will help clear up that as well. They're time steps. You can do them on your own speed, your own time, and step by step, work yourself through it. And yeah, it's not as intimidating.
Yeah. And I mean, you can go back and edit, you can make changes, but the main thing is just getting it done and getting it up there. If we could put those links on the Facebook group, we'll put them in the Facebook group, probably not on the page. Okay.
Yeah, this chat's going to be saved to the group too, so you can download the chat from there and you'll have all those links. But yeah, if you want clickable links that you can go straight from the group, I could post those links in there as well. If you don't mind me filling up the group page with all of them.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Be glad to have them. All right. Well, again, those of you who are here, thank you. Thanks to Melissa. Thank you for watching the replay. If you are, we invite you to join us any Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central. Join our Facebook group, follow our Facebook page. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.